Hey guys, Ashlane here coming at you today with an ultimate GovaHo strategy guide using Golems, Valkyries, and Hogs together to 3-star at Town Hall 9. Now, the best players in the game have been using this strategy for quite a while. Hopefully, after this guide is over, you'll be using it successfully for 3 stars in your very own clan wars. So let's get right to it, guys. So this strategy has many different variations. You can even use GovaHo, which we'll actually cover later in the video. But we'll cover different scenarios and when to change your army a little bit and when to change your tactics a little bit throughout this episode. Minimum requirements are always tough to suggest because it really depends on the base you're hitting. But as a general rule, Golems level 3, Valks level 3, Hogs level 4, Heroes level 10 to 15. 15 I'd feel much more comfortable are a good minimum base to start this strategy with. Now, strategy keys, obviously the number one thing is funneling your Valkyries to the center of the base rather than having them go along the perimeter. We'll talk about how to do that in just a bit. Trigger giant bombs, that's absolutely huge. That's one of the reasons you're going to be using the Valkyries, because they deal so well with triggering giant bombs, leading the way for your Hogs to go through without having to deal with the giant bombs because they're not quite as hardy as the Valkyries. That's an understatement. So obviously I want to understand the objective difference between normal GoHo and GovaHo. We'll get to that in a second as well, and identify when GovaHo would actually work better. Alright guys, so let's hop right into the first replay with Paul Morphy. He's been a GovaHo expert for quite a while now. I've brought a few of his replays in the past to you guys, and it's because of hits like this. Against these anti-3-star bases, the first thing you want to do is obviously take out any of those weird snipes using the builder's hut in the corners. People still do that? I guess they do. Anyway, right from here on out, it's going to be all about creating the funnel in the first phase of this attack. So you can notice that the Golems were deployed a little bit to above and below the first entry point. That's so we can spread the wizards on either side of that entry point, and that will create your funnel. So essentially, you have exactly where you want to go into the base, and then on the sides of that, just, you know, maybe about 5 to 6 squares on each side is where you want to deploy your Golems, followed by 3 to 4 wizards, and then the funnel will be created. There'll be one obvious path to the center, and then you can drop your Valkyries and your heroes. Now, there are some reasons where you might want to hold off on your Archer Queen. We'll get to that on the next replay. But you can see here that the entry point is a little bit different on this base. We're not attacking right into the Archer Queen. That's one of the many benefits to taking the Valkyries with you into the fight, because the Valkyries are so hardy that they'll make their way into the base and allow the Queen to naturally lure them towards her versus letting the defender dictate where you decide to enter the base from. Now, notice the Hog deployment here. I actually talked about this a bit in my last video, but it bears mentioning again that on the anti-3-star bases where the town hall's not centralized, you're not usually dealing with a high, heavy concentration of defenses, rather they're more spread out. You want to use a surgical deployment on your Hogs, meaning that you want to kind of trickle them in after the Valkyries and the heroes and the Golems have all the defensive attention on the base. Then you want to go ahead and trickle the Hogs in a counterclockwise or a clockwise fashion, maybe 2 to 3 Hogs per point defense. Now, why 2 jump spells? Well, instead of taking 4 earthquake spells on this attack here, Paul Morphy knew he was going to have to access more of the base with his heroes in order to execute the 3-star attack. Now we're going to be using GovaHo versus a Lava Hound in the Clan Castle by Achilles here. Now, Achilles knows there's a Lava Hound in the Clan Castle. This was a cleanup attack, so he uses an earthquake spell to open up the center of that base. We're back to anti-3-star base. He's going to enter in over here in the west using 2 Golems again. Like I said, 2 Golems, you really don't want to go 3 Golems with this strategy. I've seen it done, for sure, you can do it, but because the Valkyries take up so much more camp space, you want to really take away the 3rd Golem, add the Valkyries. That's where you're going to see the extra troop space versus GoHo. So here comes the funnel. The funnel has been created, and you'll notice now the troops are going towards the center. Everything's going fine, and then the Lava Hound comes out of the clan castle. So notice Achilles did not deploy his Archer Queen. You might be thinking this is crazy, but this is actually by design. He did not forget to deploy his Archer Queen. That's because when there's a Hound in the clan castle, you probably have realized by now that besides the couple of funneling wizards, there's no air targeting troops in this army besides the Archer Queen. So you can just keep healing the Barbarian King and the Valkyries, and then let the Lava Hound just follow the Golems around, or the Valkyries. It doesn't matter. They're not doing any damage. And then on the back end, you can use your Queen. And you can use your Queen because the Lava Hound by this time is distracted by the King or the Golem or whoever she's following around, or he, she, I don't know. Is a Lava Hound male or female? I think it's a female because she's impregnated by all those, or she's been impregnated because she has all those babies. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the raid here. So the Valkyries doing their thing here. The Valkyrie is so powerful. Obviously, they added, 2 updates ago that they go, or maybe 3 updates ago now. I don't know. Time goes by fast in the Clash universe. But now they go between the buildings. That way they get their maximum whirlwind DPS. They didn't used to do that. They used to just walk up to the building and normally, just like a barbarian does, and just whack away at it. Now they go in between, makes them more powerful, much more viable. So now, does it work with Earthquake and mid-level heroes? You might notice that everything's been close to max heroes so far. Now this is Bahir in ClashWithAsh clan. He's going to be using the Earthquake again to open up a nice area. Valkyries do really well, kind of like witches, when there's a wide open area and you can funnel them in. So here we go again, speed things up a little bit here, and creating the funnel. Nice and easy. You can see the wizards up in the east, kind of the southeast there. They're helping to create the funnel, and there's no archer towers or point defense, so they Bahir didn't even need a golem to help distract. Didn't need any kind of a meat shield there. So he's going to use some wall breakers, bust through there, and now it's just going to be time to deploy the King and the Valkyries, and you'll see them go to town, do their thing. It's such a powerful strategy. This time there's a Lava Hound in the clan castle again, but here doesn't do what Achilles did. He decides to send his Queen in, and it's still going to be effective, but you're going to have to deal with those pups mid-raid while you're dealing with the heaviest amount of defensive attention. So I actually like, when I know there's a Lava Hound, I actually like using the Queen on the back end like Achilles did, but this can still certainly be successful. So it's an anti-3-star base. What does that mean? That means you're going to trickle your Hogs in surgically around the base. Now, you don't want to do it too early, okay? That's a huge key. A big reason for failure with any GovaHo attack is sending the Hogs in way too early. You want to make sure your troops have taken out between 40 and 50% of the base, and more importantly, they have the defensive attention from almost all the units that they can possibly get the attention from the center of the base. That's really the key here. The Valkyries have so much hit points, along with the Golems, along with your heroes, that they can take that damage using the heal spell, and then the Hogs will have free reign to run around the edges. So now we're going to use GovaHo against an unorthodox, weird rush base. So this is a Town Hall 11, 10.5. It has a Grand Warden. It has Inferno Towers, but nothing else. Everything else is like level 8, Town Hall 8 or less. It's kind of a weird base here. So, but you see these bases a lot in the real world. It's not all max anti-3-star bases, so I thought I'd bring one example of one of these weird bases and why, more importantly, GovaHo works against it. So it's a Town Hall 9 Wolverine attacking a Town Hall 10-ish, 11-ish, 8-ish, who knows. But the Valkyries actually die out really early. But do you see why he used them? They took out both of the Inferno Towers before they died. Now, you can't take out 2 Inferno Towers with just GoHo because the Inferno Tower beams will fry your Hogs, but the Valkyries, especially if they're placed together like that, the Valkyries will get right in there and kill the Inferno Towers, and after the Inferno Towers are down, well, the Hogs will have free reign of the base because the base is essentially, like I said, a Town Hall, 7 or 8 or whatever without the Inferno Towers. So if you see these range bases, consider using Valkyries like Wolverine did here from Elite Academy. Very nice attack there. Town Hall 9 versus Town Hall 8.9, I guess? Anyway, when to use a GovaLo versus GovaHo. We've been talking about GovaHo. Technically, it's a GovaHo guide, but sometimes you see these wide, spread out bases, and I see some people using GovaHo. It's not that GovaHo wouldn't work. It can certainly work against these bases, but GovaLo with back-end balloons actually works better. So the beginning of the raid still starts out the same. We have the Valkyries deployed, the Kill Squad deployed, a bunch of Valkyries in this attack. We're going to jump right into the center of the base. Now, when you can get those Valkyries to the center of the base, then you just start dropping those heal spells, and it works even better with Rage. Heal and Rage Valkyries are one of the troops in the game that has great synergy with both heal and rage. There's not a lot of troops that have such synergy as the Valkyries do with heal and rage. I guess the P.E.K.K.A. would be another one. But anyway, once the Valkyries get to the center of the base, then it's just pretty easy. You just go ahead and deploy the balloons, and you can see a nice wide spread out base like this usually means one thing: a really thin defensive concentration. Especially because these bases usually have the air defenses towards the center, so the balloons can just have free reign towards the edges. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide. I had a lot of fun bringing it to you. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you like it, and comment below and let me know other guides that you'd like to see. I'm in a guide kind of mood lately, if you can't tell, so go ahead and check those out. And as always, take care, guys.
Thanks for watching Clash with Ash. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Find more Ash at ClashWithAsh.com, and be sure to check out his Patreon page using the links in the description below. Take care, guys.